Yeah. Uh, so, um, so Emily, tell us about you real fast and tell everyone where they can find you and connect with you.
So you can find me at lovemoneyvenus.com. And I am an astrologer that's been practicing for a while, but over quarantine, like a bunch of us, I started studying like more rigorously with an astrologer called Chris Brennan, who is really wonderful, super generous, and really educated in what he's discovered with some ancient Greek philosophies and how astrology was practiced way back in the day to give birth to everything that we're doing now. But when we talk about Neptune and Uranus and Pluto, those are all the modern planets. So working with modern astrologers and incorporating that is always like really important because everything works together.
Hmm.
And now I'm just mostly focused on where AMC is going and what the stars have to say for it because I'm completely obsessed, like all of us are. And I can't take my eyes off anything that's happening because the astrology of it has been pretty spectacular.
Yes, it really has been, and it doesn't seem like anything is slowing down anytime soon. In fact, it
No,
seems, yeah, with all these retrogrades. I mean, we have Saturn retrograde, Pluto retrograde, Jupiter retrograde, Mercury just got a retrograde. We got Neptune retrograde. This is like a clear indication that things are in a build-up phase. We're gonna get Uranus retrograde later. And I was telling a friend, shout out to you know who you are. I was looking at these retrogrades like a consolidating phase. Like when all these things start going direct again, we're gonna get like breakthroughs, breakouts of all sorts. Facts.
absolutely.
Um, okay, but what we're here to focus on today will be the Neptune retrograde and the Jupiter retrograde in Pisces. And at the end of this video, we are going to do some readings for you guys, and I'm gonna make the Zoom call live, so you guys will come in and do a reading if you guys want to. All right, so we're going to hit the mundane stuff that's going on with this retrograde. Then we're going to talk about how it's going to hit us in a personal level. And then we're going to talk a little bit about financials. And then we're going to go to the live reading. So we're going to jump right into it with first, I guess we should talk about what a retrograde is. Um, and in astrology, a retrograde just means a planet's going backwards. Is it actually going backwards in the sky? No. But from our perspective, it is. Just think of it like this: we're like traveling in space with two things going in a circle. But as we go past it, even though they're still traveling in the same direction with us, it looks from our angle that they're going backwards. So that's what a retrograde is in astrology. It's not physically happening, but on a physical level, the planet is slowing down a little bit. So when that happens, it's time of redoing, or a lot of redoing, uh, uh, restriction, reanalyzing, reflecting,
Reconsider.
reconsideration, all those things. So the cool thing about these retrogrades that are a little bit different than what you would say a Mercury retrograde is more of a subconscious energy. It's not like a immediate you're gonna feel it. So it happens slowly. It changes you very slowly, especially when you're dealing with Neptune and Pisces. Jupiter is a little bit more impactful as far as like feeling it immediately. But yeah, while Neptune is retrograde for these several months, we all are going to be feeling it. And since it's happening in the sign of Pisces, you guys know I'm a Pisces. So it's all that Pisces stuff, all the creativity, all the illusions, all the deception, all the manifestation, all the spirituality, things that are happening deep inside our spiritual world, our psychological world, things that we're closest to on a spiritual level, things we need to spiritually heal with. That's all Pisces stuff. Another thing Pisces represents um, that I would say is worth mentioning, especially during a retrograde season, is the fact that Pisces is very indecisive. Um, yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, mutable.
yeah.
It's two-bodied, as they said, like the ancient Greeks. It's got two aspects to it that it always has to reconcile. To somebody more fixed or to a more fixed sign, it looks like super indecisive, but it's also balancing everything. You know, they want to like take it all in and they don't want to rush to any decisions because sometimes you're just wrong about it. And Pisces gets that. Sometimes it's just the known. So
Hmm. And I
both
think,
these planets are being very wishy-washy at the
yeah,
moment.
yeah, and I think that was a good point that you said is about the knowing with Pisces. And Pisces goes off of intuition. And sometimes that can mess up Pisces up because Pisces also rules illusions, and you can be all up in your own type of illusions. And so you got to make sure your third eye is well tuned. But during this things going retrograde in Neptune or in Pisces, to me, it's a time where you're really contemplating things. Pisces is two fishes going around in a circle. And so they're always like, should I go this way? Should I go that way? So definitely plan on, doing a lot of introspection, and don't force the answers, because with Pisces, it has to go with the flow, right? So let the answers flow in during this retrograde period versus forcing the answer or changing the answer with your own deception, okay? Because Pisces rules illusions, deception, um, just the unseen stuff, okay? So yeah, dude, is there anything you want to add to that?
You hit the nail on the head, and I think it's really important to understand that every sign has their role in the zodiac. So, Pisces being the 12th sign, they're actually at the end of a very long incarnation cycle. And that's a really important period of review that some people might like to skip over. But we know that, like, as soon as whatever moves out of Pisces, it's going right into Aries. And by that time, it's time to act. Like, we're not going to wonder about it anymore. You need that Piscean period to make sure you know which direction you're going in, and you're not just shooting from the hip and causing damage. So it's something that, like, if somebody's more action oriented, they might not want to spend that much time in like conscious like deliberation or whatever, but everybody needs it. And so, I mean, it's good it's there, especially Neptune, because by the time Neptune gets into Aries, that's going to be some really like intense stuff. Neptune, the planet of like illusion and deception and consciousness and how we perceive things going into the action sign, is going to be a noticeable shift from where we are right now.
Yeah, yeah. Noticeable shit. I love what you just said. Like, Pisces is the last sign, Aries is the first sign. So, once things goes out into the 12th house, into that Pisces world, and has to go deep into the abyss and discover new realities, and how we feel about things, and how we are going to operate going forward on a spiritual level, how we, retune our third eye, retune our vibration. When everything hits Aries, it's like go time. It's go time. So that is a very awesome point. Man, when Pisces goes to Aries, what is that going to be like? That's
Okay,
going to be
I
sick.
actually have an example for this, because what we were talking about before, going all the way back to the last time Neptune was in Pisces, that was the 1850s. Okay, this is a long, long, long cycle. And when that was going on, a lot of astrologers kind of put that as sort of like the birth of human rights, when it became like more of a conversation. Slavery was still legal. Abolitionists were starting to organize. You had some of the first like suffragette feminist organizations starting to pop up, and all kinds of different little like disconnected movements, as far as like, okay, maybe we can't actually treat human beings like they're like a cargo commodity. But none of that actually got formalized until Neptune moved into Aries. And after all this different period of like states' rights, like states could individually decide if they were going to be free or like enslaved and all that kind of stuff. In 1861, when Neptune moves into Aries, we're not talking about it anymore. It's time to fight, and like the Civil War is on. So that's a really good like example of kind of like how suddenly we're going to move from this period of like, will we, won't we? Everybody has their own sides. Like, when it's time to go with everything that we've been kind of like mulling over and exploring with, you're going to know it. And there's not going to be time to go back and change your mind. Like, it's going to be show up for whatever you've been advocating for by that point.
Yeah, and Neptune has a lot to do with the a collective subconscious energy, a shared realities, generational perspectives is what we have in the
Yes.
notes. And so yeah, like the way we manifest, the way we vibe out with each other, all that stuff is going to change during this whole entire uh, transit of Neptune going into Pisces. And I can't emphasize enough, there's a lot of spiritual healing even during this retrograde period. I do think it's going to be some painful for a lot of people, because Neptune forces you to go to like an abyss, like those deepest parts of your ocean. Okay, Neptune rules the oceans, by the way, and Pisces is like energy where, you know, the surface may seem steady, but underneath that is just like a, you know, miles of just like depth, right? So plan on
Endless,
going
bottomless.
bottomless, perfect, endless, okay? So it's like plan on being that way with yourself and not hiding from it, okay? Pisces rules escapism, okay? So
Hmm.
a lot of
And it's
people,
going to be really tempting right now. It is going to be extra tempting to just kind of slip away and not deal with the harsh realities being put in your face. But it's important.
yeah, yeah. So don't run from your problems. Don't run from what's dead smack in front of you. Don't run from reality. Pisces wants to escape reality. Don't do that, okay? Because that's where you get. That's where you're gonna get stuck in the wave. That's where you're gonna get stuck in the abyss. Okay. Now, um, let's talk about what Jupiter is doing in Pisces, because it's going to be a lot different than what Neptune is doing in Pisces. Okay.
I like how these two are ganging up on us right now because it's been a really long time since like both of them. Again, I think it's back in the 1850s when they were both in the sign of Pisces together.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like a double act, and they represent. I think Jupiter's one of the fish, and Neptune's the other, right? And those two Pisces fishes that are always like chasing each other around. Um, and I Jupiter is here with more of the belief system. If Neptune is the perception,
Mm-hmm.
then Jupiter is like the fundamental things you can actually see, to form a belief over. There's tangible stuff. Jupiter has abundance coming with him. And it's really easy to feel good when he's showering you with presents. But are you able to keep those same beliefs internally if things start going against you? Like, are you able to hold his principles of fairness and optimism and generosity if all of the good stuff isn't right in front of your face? And that's a lot of what Jupiter retrograde is. Like, are you living it even if you don't have the outward perks of it? And so at the same time, Jupiter is doing this in his home sign of Pisces, where he's so comfortable, he's so happy, he's so benevolent. Neptune is coming along in his retrograde to make sure that we all feel like a little bit more suspicious and not as comfortable and like a more fuddy, like all that sort of, I don't know, cynical, I think would be a good word for it. Like we don't have as much blind faith and like delusion available to us right now because Neptune is not doing his thing. And it's an interesting combination for how you choose to reconcile that because it is important to figure it out. Like this is the vibe is not going out and just like bombing everybody with the terrible things that are popping into your head. Like that's not what's supposed to be done. You really are supposed to be doing a little bit of that wading in the deep abysses and filtering through what's real and what's not, what's intuition, what's anxiety. And
Ooh.
they're kind of at counter purposes, but I feel like the end result of what they're asking us to do is going to be really substantial.
Yeah, yeah. Amazing, amazing points. Amazing points. You like Pisces is, you know, our fantasies, our dreams, and Jupiter gives us the um, reasoning and beliefs behind going after those things. And Pisces is all about where dreams become reality. So if you use this correctly, this could be a super manifestation, powerful transformation, but an eternal spiritual transformation. Okay, this is about what's happening inside. But before anything can happen,
Inside out, yeah.
yeah, before anything can happen in the outside, you have to think about it in the inside, right? So we got to fix the inside first, and this is a awesome time. Now she brought me to a point how Jupiter would be one fish and Neptune would be the other fish of Pisces. That's awesome. I never thought of it like that, but that is absolutely a beautiful way of describing the Jupiter Neptune like opposition, you could say. And they're not opposites in real life. Sagittarius Pisces aren't opposites, but Pisces and Sagittarius are both ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter rules both
In
Pisces.
very different ways too. That's what's awesome about them. They
Mm-hmm.
have different sides of Jupiter that come out.
Right. And so what I like to say is Sagittarius would be like the fire sign of Jupiter, and Pisces would be the water sign of Jupiter. This is why Pisces and Sagittarius get along, and they do attract, even though it's fire water. They both are Jupiter people, and it's just the fire is on a different octave than the water version of Jupiter, but they're coming from the same frequencies, just different octaves of it, right? So it's like a double combination of what Pisces embodies, and both of the planets being there retrograde at the same time is a real thing, okay? And I was talking to the moon lords in the Discord, and when Jupiter went into Pisces, like suddenly I just couldn't wake up anymore. Like I was waking up when Jupiter was in Sagittarius or in Aquarius. I was up all the time at 4 o'clock with no problem. As soon as Jupiter went in Pisces, it was just like I could not get up anymore. I was having intense dreams. Are you guys having dreams? I bet you are. So that's what Pisces does. It brings a lot of weight to the spiritual side of things. Okay, definitely brings a lot of weight to the spiritual side of things. Now, one thing I want to mention is is Jupiter. That's so funny. Jupiter rules justice, and that makes total sense. I never thought of it. Jupiter justice. So, what do you think about that? What do you think that's going to bring in the world?
I think that we are going to have on a lot of sides. It's so good that you bring up the justice, because justice is something that sometimes you do have to backtrack over events that have happened to be able to get a shot at it. And especially in the AMC movement, we have been cheated a fair few times. Like, we're still waiting for that. We're still waiting for somebody to look at all of these things that we've been experiencing together. Like, all of the times that, we've watched short ladder attacks just pile through. And I was thinking the other day about how many times we all sit to watch the ticker on Webull, and everybody sees it go to like something like 1501, and then 20 seconds later it's at like 1490. All of this stuff that we're being gaslit on, and we're still waiting for a response. Like, Jupiter retrograde is a really good time to seek that out.
Yeah.
Jupiter retrograde is a time where that is more likely to be coming, because people are going over past events to say, like, wait, did they have something that was going on here? Like, were they on to something? And I'm hoping with some of the other symbols of what's coming on, that's actually something that we can look forward to. It does look like there's going to be, especially with Neptune pulling back some of the weapons of like delusion and deception that are covering up some of these like really kind of like unscrupulous acts. I think that that is something that you can hope for from Jupiter retrograde, like a chance to have your day in court, for like lack of a better word, like actually get heard out and get a response.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, Jupiter has a lot to do with the justice in the world and the government. And it going retrograde, especially in the sign of Pisces, this deals with deception, okay? Please believe that we're going to see a lot of things that was in the dark come to the light during this Jupiter retrograde, and especially when it goes direct. And it goes direct in September 14th, okay? Jupiter will be direct in September, and Neptune will be direct in December, okay? But I'm very and September is going to be very interesting when Jupiter goes direct, because we're going to feel that Jupiter represents expansion. So when Jupiter is done consolidating in Pisces, please believe things are going to start expanding. Now, here's a trick. I call Jupiter and Neptune and Pisces where dreams become reality. Okay? So if you guys are working the magic correctly, okay, I want you guys to go into the deepest parts of your fantasies. I don't care what it is. And I want you to try to manifest from there for these next few months. And then at the end of the year, when everything goes direct, you're going to see the fruits of that. And it has to be, the more fantasy like it is, and the more unique it is, and the more your spirit agrees with it, the better the manifestation is going to be. Facts, believe me on that. What do you think?
100%. Like, one of the first astrologers that I ever learned from always taught me that, like, wherever Jupiter is, whatever he's doing, he's giving you a hint as how to like activate the luck, right? Like, how do you want that good fortune to like show up to you? And if he's in the sign of Pisces, that's in a dream state, that's like that's like the Disneyland, like the imagination. Like, if you can see it, you can beat it sort of situation. Whereas if it was in something more action oriented, like Leo or Aries, then would know to kind of like move it into a more action state. But this is literally about like creating that in the ether. And optimism is the key. Like, no matter how bad things start to look at it at any point, like if things really, really, really seem like they're going in the wrong direction, whether it's price action, whether it's life stuff, optimism is always the answer. Like finding whatever you need to like have the best possible, the highest hope for the outcome. Go to that information and get like stay where it's warm and figure that out, because your thoughts and your like your wants, your desires, what's happening inside you is going to have a physical effect. And you're going to see it exactly when you said, when Jupiter starts to go direct, you're going to see what seeds you've been planting that entire time. Like, let's hope you like your garden after it all comes to bloom, because it might be really hard to go back and change it.
Yes, 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 yes. Follow the spirit. Follow the spirit. Pisces is about following your spirit. Jupiter is about following what you believe in. Pisces is about believing in yourself. Facts. Okay. Now, Jacob mentioned, Diamond Co Jones in the chat mentioned virus, election, McAfee, Ispin. All that is Pisces illusions, Pisces manipulation. Pisces is very manipulating. Okay, Pisces is extremely manipulating. All the water signs are. Scorpio and Pisces definitely take the crown for manipulation, and so yeah, don't be gaslighted, don't be manipulated. Definitely don't be fooled by the illusions out here. I do see when Neptune goes retrograde, I do see it potentially getting, he did mention a virus. Neptune does rule viruses, okay? It rules liquids, it rules pharmaceutical drugs. So I'm not going to be surprised, just to give you guys a fair warning, if we get some virus activity going on during this Neptune retrograde season. And if we also get some vaccine stuff going on as well. And as far as like, on a financial level, anything that's dealing with liquid industries, that could be like water, gas, pharmaceuticals, drugs, shipping on the ocean and whatever, all those type of stocks can be affected during this time. And I haven't tracked those stocks enough to tell you what's going to happen, but I can guarantee you this Neptune retrograde is either going to pull a lot of those down, or it's going to reverse a lot of those, or when it goes direct, a lot of those are going to see a lot of movement, especially since it's going to be with Jupiter, leaving that sector. So keep that in mind. Now, as far as Jupiter being here, when Jupiter goes direct, I do see a lot of expansive energy towards the medical industries, especially pharmaceutical drugs, anything dealing with the waters, anything doing with gas, anything like that. Is there anything you want to add to that?
Maybe it's a good time to drop our bomb of like what could be happening when Jupiter retrogrades into Aquarius, since we're talking about the virus.
Yes.
Because we actually discussed this, so we like really care about you guys, and we didn't want to accidentally bring up anything that could be funny. And of course, when we're talking about astrology, like we're prognosticating. We don't know if this is going to happen, but there are some really good reasons to believe that when Jupiter retrogrades back into Aquarius from Pisces, where it's been, it's going to bring with it some more like mask restrictions and possibly lockdowns, but I see more of a mass quarantine situation, because I think our like real heavy lockdowns were more when Jupiter was still in Capricorn before the ingress was happening. But that is definitely like on the table. That is a potential option, which clearly affects like every stock and everything that's going on. And Jupiter starts to move back into Aquarius at the end of July. Like that is right around the corner. It is not even like that far away, but it is going to be pulling us back into a space that we were in before the vaccine was out, before everybody started to like get to jump into public situations again. And I guess that's all there is to say about it. It is a possibility. Just keep one eye open. Like, don't get too comfortable. Enjoy Jupiter and Pisces while it's here, because this is the time that you're guaranteed to be allowed to like run outside and be free, and it might disappear again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's scary. It's scary because you have a very good point. Jupiter is considered the luckiest planet of the zodiac, but when it's going retrograde, it can give us a different type of effect, right? So if you guys are looking at the screen, I have July 28th pulled up, and that's when Jupiter is going to make that powerful degree in the 29th degree of 29th degree of Aquarius, okay? And that's what she's talking about. When Jupiter goes back into Aquarius, this is going to be a major shift of energy. Okay, we all felt it how Jupiter affected us when it went to Pisces. So what do you think is going to happen when it goes back into Aquarius? Okay, now Aquarius is Uranus, and you guys know what I say about Uranus. Uranus is trying to destroy the old and bring in the new. Okay, and Jupiter is expansion, fast expansion. Aquarius is an air sign; it happens quickly. Okay, so please believe things are getting readjusted when Jupiter goes into Aquarius, and don't be alarmed by how surprising or an explosion it can be like, because Aquarius is an explosion like energy. Okay, but remember, Aquarius is all about the collective society as a whole. And it's the water barrier that wants to bring the water to the people and give the people their own power source. All right, and Jupiter wants to give everyone the experience that they're looking for, and it wants to make sure there's justice in the world. So to me, this retrograde period, especially with Jupiter going into Aquarius, this is like, okay, we fixed a few things in the world while I was in Aquarius, but let me go back in here and reconstruct a few more things real quick. Okay.
That is one really good piece of news that I think is totally, I really do feel like by the time we finish and Jupiter comes back out of Aquarius, like we're done. I really feel like that. Like we're done. It's behind us. Like we have finally understood the assignment. We got it finished. We got everything taken care of, and we're not going to be forever living like this. I mean, I hope I don't like regret those words coming up, but it really does look like a final ending on what's began in 2020 that we're living through in 2021. Like that is where I'm putting my money on freedom, like relief from this horrible pandemic that just never goes away.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. So, before we start doing some readings for you guys, okay? Because we've already been 40 minutes. All right, astrology just takes us.
It flew by. You
Yeah.
promised it would fly by, and it really did.
Yeah.
Okay, quick note on the readings. I can't see the shared screen, so I'm not seeing any birth charts.
Oh yeah, not yet. So guys, you guys see the Zoom link meeting? Anyone that wants to read it, get on the Zoom. Okay, you don't have to show your video, but call us in on the Zoom, and then we'll put you guys on here, and we will do a live reading for you guys on where this Neptune and Pisces energy and the retrogrades, where all that's hitting, and how that's going to play out in your life. Now, Emily, where is Pisces in your chart? If you don't mind sharing.
I have 11th house Pisces. Oh. And as soon as Jupiter moved in there, I think that's when we met.
Oh.
And then I found the Moon Lords in the Discord, and I started meeting astrologers like all over the place on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really have that kind of community. And like my favorite thing, like astrology is everything to me. It's changed my life a million times over. And having so many like educated, intelligent people to speak that language with, I will forever, like, I don't care what Jupiter does to me after this. It's been like one of my favorite parts of the year.
Yeah, it has been amazing. So the 11th house, so is Jupiter in your 11th house too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
my Jupiter natally is in the 4th house, in Leo.
Okay, we got George in there. George, we're gonna get to you right after this, okay? So, and George, get your birthday ready. In fact, drop your birthday information in the chat for me, George. If you know the time of birth that you were born, put that in there. If not, it's okay. Also include the time zone if you know the actual time you were born on. So, so Emily, you said Jupiter is in your 11th house too?
Jupiter's transiting my 11th house, but natally I have it in the 4th house in Leo.
Okay, so you have Neptune and Jupiter right now retrograding your 11th house. Is that correct? Yep. Okay.
Mm-hmm, absolutely correct.
That's so amazing if you're in spiritual work. So that's what's up. Jupiter represents the guru, the teacher, the philosopher, the student of the universe. So you know you're obviously a student of the universe like I am, and you've been studying the universe, and everything you've been studying, you're now starting to put more into the world, and it's coming back to you. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep, those seeds are planted, and this is a time when they like kind of have been able to bloom a little bit more. But like that time that's another really good use for astrology. It's like, as spiritual practitioners that are having conversations with the planets, we get these retrogrades to have a chance to like go back and like review what's come up, all of the stuff that's been going on, so that we can like get a better grasp of it and sort of incorporate it into our ethos before we move forward. And it's important, you know, things have been happening at the speed of light, star wise, for like 2 years straight now. If we didn't have some of these periods of review, like, it'd all just be swimming around in this massive soup.
So true, so true, so true. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, George, I'm going to get you in here, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about what's happening with you, Emily, because I'm actually very excited for that transit for you. That's very expensive energy right there. Okay, so let's get George in here. I'm gonna admit him in right now. George. Mike. There you are. Yo. What's good? How you doing?
How's it going?
Pretty good. I'm out here in Austin, Texas right now. I'm a little bit.
That's where I am. Are you kidding me right now?
I swear.
I'm in Austin.
Yeah, I'm downtown right now. I'm about to go hit up a lake. I swear.
Right on. I'm over. I'm on Lakeshore. I'm right by Town Lake.
Oh, hell yeah. I think that's where I'm going, to be honest. Oh, shit.
That's crazy.
It's a pretty day out there, too.
Yeah.
Synchronicity.
Yeah.
We got 16 people in here. If you're in here and haven't hit that like yet, go ahead and hit the like for me if you want to show support. I really, really appreciate it. So, George, what's your birthday?
Yeah. March 7th, 2000.
Oh, another Pisces. I see you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a dragon too, just like me. Do you know what time you're born?
1:07 a.m.
Let's go. I'm excited. All right. And what city?
San Jose, California.
Okay, California. Let's see. So how you been feeling so far during these retrograde seasons?
I feel pretty good, dude. I just left my job, about to go to another country. I feel pretty good, dude. So I'm going with the flow right now, going along with my plan. Shit, on my way to accomplish what's written down in my notes. And shit, man, I'm just living, dude. Just living, enjoying my family time and everything. I feel good, man.
Hey guys,
taking a step back. Yeah.
You guys are listening to a Pisces talk, okay? Exactly my point. He's riding the wave correctly. He's riding that wave correctly.
He caught that wave. Now he's just going with that.
Yeah. All right, so I'm about to share the screen on the channel, and let's see, display. Okay, there's your chart, homie. You see it?
Let's see.
I'll make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so.
Can I see it? Is there any way to make that happen?
Can you pull up the live stream on your end, Emily? Just go to the channel. Here, I'll send you a link.
Okay.
You want me to drop it on Twitter?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so guys, you can see that his Neptune is in his fourth house, and he just said, oh, it's in his third house. It's in his third house, and the Jupiter is in his beginning of his third house too, okay? So he has a lot of third house activity going on. So remember, we're doing a lot of reflecting. We're doing a lot of just spiritual growth, a lot of spiritual healing. And the third house is everything you're familiar with. It's everything that... And he just said... Oh, Emily, mute your YouTube video.
I'm working on it.
Okay. So it's everything that's familiar to him. That's where all this retrograde energy is happening. The third house is everything you're familiar with. So this could be family. This is a sibling house. This is anything that you are used to or familiar with on like an everyday basis. So if there's certain places you go every day or a lot of the time that you're familiar with, He's going to be going to those places. There's certain people he speaks to, those type of things. Also, another thing he's going to do is third house is people that you communicate with. So there could be since it's retrograde, there could be less communication or more communication on things on a spiritual level. So, George, have you been connecting with people you're familiar with more on a spiritual level? Would you say that's true?
Let me think about that. Let's see. Who have we been talking to? Yeah, I'm talking to like. Hey, I really can't say I've been talking more or less, but truthfully, on the spiritual level, yeah, I've been speaking to like, yeah, my elders, more about spirituality. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Oh,
I've been
beautiful.
speaking to like like my family, my older family, more about spirituality, just going with the flow, doing what I really want to do with my heart and what makes sense in my mind. Going
Mm-hmm.
forth with that, as long as it makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. I really haven't communicated with anybody else that I haven't really communicated with. Just
Mm-hmm.
my little circle. And
Okay.
now that's pretty much it, man.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, you're definitely going to be communicating with your circle. It's not like it's really Pisces is about people that are close to you on like a deep level. Pisces doesn't really like the superficial connections. Now, it's also happening on your sun sign, which it's a little it's a little loose. That's not loose. It's 5 degrees. So you're really even on a vitality level, ego level, everything you're constantly paying attention to, everything you want for yourself and how you see yourself. A lot of that stuff is getting retuned, refined, so you can just manifest better going forward. That's very beautiful to have Neptune retrograde on your sun sign like that. Now, he has the sun in Pisces, so he's very intuitive already. Let's say he had a sun sign in like Aries, for example. This could be like a combination where you could get caught up in your own little illusions and then get fixated, or it could be like an ego thing here. But in Pisces kind of destroys the ego, and when the sun comes here, or it can destroy the ego here. So Neptune on top of his sun sign, it allows him to really let go of his ego and kind of see things on a deeper perspective. George, would you say that's true?
Yeah, man, shit. I don't know, like, I feel like right now, like, I'm getting rid of a lot of stuff. Like, it sounds like a lot of, like, I guess, metal technology. And it's like, oh, that's unnecessary, dude. It's like, there's a lot of weight. And I don't know. At this point right now, I'm getting rid of, like, a lot of stuff that I really don't need. What I really need, shit, man. I'll use myself, man. I don't know, and I hopped on this too. I was like, oh shit, I don't Discord the other day, man. Anyway, but
Yeah,
man, nah, yeah, I'm just getting rid of everything right now. Let's see.
I like that.
I'm kind of just going with the flow right now. I'm kind of just on my own little note right now. I'm gonna let you take over, man.
Yeah, I kind of feel you on letting. I like that you said you're letting go of a lot of stuff, especially things that no longer serve you on a spiritual level. That makes sense. I guess this Neptune retrograde can bring a lot of like purging energy. Would you agree with that, Emily?
Absolutely. Especially stuff that doesn't serve you anymore. Stuff that you can't take with you in the future from when Neptune is moving into Aries has to come out sooner or later. And this is going to be the time that happens.
Perfect, perfect. And George, I must say, if you guys look at what's happening with the Jupiter retrograde, you see how it's hitting his other Jupiter. It's a sextile, and his Jupiter's in the house of the fifth house, the house of speculation, the house of children, and it's in also cusping the fourth house of family. George, I don't know if you're in any relationships, but you're looking a little fertile with this energy here. Just an FYI.
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah. You could be giving birth creatively, perhaps, to something that's at home, but that really does look like babies.
Nah, lately, like I see like the seasons too. Like right now, I'm in a rainy season right now. Like before it was like a dry season. Like I see like the ladies and stuff right now. Right now, I'm going through like a little rainy season, so they kind of like they're kind of just coming over. So I don't know. Maybe that is a sign right there.
Yeah. Hey. Just know what you're doing, homie. Know what you're doing. Okay. So your setup's looking really nice. I really like that. If you can hit us up at Discord if you want more information on that, but I'm gonna have to let someone else in. I really appreciate you calling in. That's amazing. I love your chart. I love that you're another Pisces. You also have a Mercury in Mercury retrograde Pisces.
You got a Pisces Mercury too. You guys should be chatting more for sure.
Yeah. So very nice chart. Very nice chart. So I'll see you next time, homie, all right?
Hey, I'll be in the Discord, man.
All right.
Talk to you next, man.
All right, sounds good. Peace.
That's it.
Ooh, that was great. That was amazing. So
That was awesome. He was a perfect example. He was another one. I've been getting a lot of charts from AMC people that have North Node in the eighth house. And he had it too. And
mm,
that's really
and
kind of something, especially if he's playing in that movement. It wouldn't be a terrible idea because he's got some forward looking stars in
yeah,
that house of other people's money.
yeah, yeah. Um, North Node in the eighth house is super intense and powerful. That's for sure.
Yeah, your boy Jacob has that too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Jacob is a hardcore researcher, and he likes to go in the darkness and find the light. And he's yeah, Jacob, you're the man for sure. All right, Saturn Solstice, you're next. I'm excited to do you. Let me bring you in here. Leah, I hope you're coming back. Monty, I got you next. All right, Saturn. Saturn Solstice, you're gonna give us your birthday. I love that name.
Hello, can you hear me?
We sure can. How you doing?
Thank you.
How you doing today?
Good. My birthday is, I'm sorry, I can't hear you very well on my laptop because it's a dinosaur. August 2nd, 1995.
You got a birthday coming up soon.
Yeah, I do. Oh, there I am. Hi.
Hey, hola.
Hi, is this Bree?
Yeah.
Hi, Leo Stellium. I can't wait to see this.
Oh, God.
This is a conversation that has been started over Twitter.
Saturn Solstice. What's your what time were you born? Do you know?
7:45 a.m.
City?
Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Okay. So we have August 2nd, 1995, 7:45 a.m., Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So tell me how you've been feeling so far during this period.
Very sleepy.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I feel like I've been in bed for the past 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh. So much sleeping. And me too. And I don't even like to sleep. I really
Me
don't.
either. I like to be up. I like to go and do stuff.
Yeah. I just like to work. I just like to be on my computer. I don't really care to do anything. I just need to be on the internet.
No, we need to be outside running.
Well, I go outside. I do nature walks every day. That's important. That's important. Okay, so here's your chart. It's on the screen. Oh, this is exciting. Okay, so Emily, can you see it?
Not yet. I might have like a little bit of a delay.
Okay. Yeah, you probably do.
Yeah, there we go.
Ooh. So your name is Saturn Solstice, and you have the Neptune retrograde on your Saturn. That's interesting.
Wow.
So I'm curious, why did you name yourself Saturn Solstice? Talk to me about that.
That has been my username on every social media account for the past like 4 years.
Yeah.
Before I was even into astrology, I just thought it sounded pretty.
Yeah. I was into the moon before I was into astrology, and before I named myself the Blue Moon of Neptune, and I was into astrology. I had a blue car, and I named that Blue Moon. So,
It's just connected. You don't even know these things.
yeah, it's so crazy. Emily, can you see the chart now?
I can. Yeah.
So, do you want to do this one first, or you want me to attack?
So are you a Leo rising?
I am.
Okay. So I have something really similar with you where you have a bunch of planets that are like combining in the 12th house. And you also, so are most of those in Cancer? Or are they all hitting in Leo?
They're all in Leo.
Okay. So I have in Placidus, which is a chart that it's a house system that works out the angles to kind of figure out where those are going to come from. And then whole house signs start at like whatever your first house ascendant is, that's house 1. Okay. And then your second sign is house 2. And there's no division in them. So in my 12th house, I have the moon, Venus, Mars, and a lot of that totally applies. But when I switch over to whole sign houses, that's all first house stuff. And that applies too. So a lot of those planets move into your first house if you look at your chart from a different way. And that means that some of those themes are a lot more first house than you are probably used to dealing with. Because we talked about it on Twitter how, like, it's a 12th house stellium, but it's also Leo. You're like a bright, shining light. You're supposed to be out there. Like, you're always looking for that spotlight to hit your face because that's what you were born for. You know, you're a child of the sun. You're supposed to be out in it. And when you move that back into a 12th house situation where that's happening behind the scenes, it can actually be really problematic because you have to take a lot of that natural extroversion. That's how you were built. And you have to turn it inward. You know, if you don't have somebody to like reciprocate and be able to do that with, then it just becomes kind of like a one person show. But moving all of that into your first house says that whether it's by activation or whether it's by transit, there is no way that you are going to get out of um, being seen. Sooner or later, it's always going to come back to being seen, right?
Facts.
Like you're always going to have to find that spot because you have messages to deliver, and that's a big part of why you were sent here. If that makes any sense.
It does.
I love that you said that, and I'm gonna tell you guys right now. I have a chart of someone who wants to be unseen. Okay, and for instance, Saturn Solstice, she has her Sun and Mercury in the 12th house, and that's the house of spirituality. That's the house of Pisces. And putting the Sun there, the planet that makes you take action in the world, going into the 12th house of spirituality, sometimes you can get stuck or not stuck, but you spend so much time in the 12th house, so much time in spirituality, so much time going internal that you don't do things on the external. Okay, and for me, I have Pluto in my first house, retrograde in Scorpio. I love to be unseen. I don't want to be in the spotlight, right? But we, just like she was mentioning, Emily mentioned she's a Leo rising. Okay, she is supposed to be seen. There's no stopping that. Okay, I have Venus in seventh house. I'm a Libra rising. My powers are serving people. So if I'm staying in the dark, it's a bad idea. Okay, so I think it's really important because I know I'm attracting a lot of people like me, that we all get out and put ourselves in the light. Okay, because the world. One thing I've learned about astrology, I used to say the moon is the most important because everything happens inside before it can happen outside, which is true, but nothing is really happening in the physical unless you're putting light out there, unless you're operating in the sun sign. Everything revolves around the sun. So the more light you put out in the world, the more light you'll attract, the more light you'll have for yourself. Okay, it's really weird. You put out light and you get light back. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now she has her Neptune retrograde in her 8th house and a sign of Saturn. That's very, very, or on top of Saturn. And her Saturns
That's a
are,
lot.
yeah, and her Saturn's already retrograde. Now, I love Saturn Pisces people. It kind of scare me, but I love them. They scare me because they're super, 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 super psychologically intelligent, and they're really good, powerful manipulators for that reason.
Ooh,
Because
that's right in between the structure of how a mind is built in Pisces with like the psychic knowing of how that works. Like that is a really good way to say that, Jason.
yeah, and then you put it in the 8th house, like she isn't trying to miss anything, and she's trying to.
Can you hear what we're thinking right now, Bree? Because it feels like you can read our minds like effortlessly with that kind of placement.
Yeah.
No, I was just thinking about how I'm known for like kind of knowing everything because all I do all day is research stuff. That's all I do. I just learn things.
Yeah, and you're probably going to be in bigger energy of learning and gathering more information with the retrograde right there in Pisces like that. That's absolutely beautiful. And to me, this is for you. I don't know if you're psychic, but this could be a serious psychic upgrade period for you. You might come out of this Neptune retrograde with all sorts of different powers. Okay, people have to realize Saturn rules the underworld. Okay, Saturn rules. It's the gatekeeper of the underworld. And when I just say the underworld, you can look at it as the spirituality world. Okay, Pisces is super spiritual, but Saturn is the one that's ruling the world. Okay, and the sun rules our 3D world. So I'm not trying to scare people, but Saturn, Satan, okay, it's literally like a gatekeeper type energy. So a lot of times you put Saturn in Pisces, this person has like a gatekeeping energy of the other to the other world, especially in the 8th house. Like you're definitely connected to other worlds and other spirits most likely, and they might be connected. You might be like a walking portal, okay? And if you're not yet, this might activate some walking portal stuff, okay? Do you ever feel like you're connected to like a different realm, or other things are connected to you? Do you feel that?
I have to be careful about what
Yeah.
what kind of reality stuff I look at and stuff.
Yeah. I feel you.
Totally.
But I'll tell you what, even though you attract all sorts of different energies, you got to remember with Saturn in the eighth house like that, you are the gatekeeper. All right. So if you have energies around you don't want, tell them to leave and it's a wrap. Okay. You got all the power with that energy. Believe me. Definitely getting psychically upgraded. It may be a little bit strong. Okay. But it's okay. When it goes direct, you're going to be feeling a lot better. Now, another thing that this is really good for is really getting more in tune with your deepest desires and how you want to manifest your reality, okay? So whatever fantasies you have right now, remember I was telling people like you can really manifest that right now or start planning and manifest that. You especially, it being on top of your Saturn, is a great time for you to start planning and really constructing how you're going to manifest your dreams. Emily, what do you think?
I think that it is 100% right on. That's exactly where you should be thinking. And as a tip from one 12th house girl to the other, a huge, if there, the 12th house is a hard house, but it has its blessings and it has its secrets. And being able to pack your private world, like what's going on behind the scenes with really valuable people that can help you navigate, that is real. And that is like part of like your natal promise. Like that is something that you can do. You have to screen and you have to make sure that nobody's like working behind your back. But especially with all this like the mediumship, the kind of like being contacted from like outside sources and all that kind of stuff, you should be able to find guides that can help you through that, or at least just like bear witness, you know, just like hold some space so you can like vent about it and get it out of your system and move on. And because you have that Leo rising and everything happening, you can figure out who those people are really fast because you just stay where it's warm. Just stay where it's warm. Like if it feels good, if somebody's like feeling nourishing, that is a really good sign that they have something that you should be receiving. But if you're getting overly critical, like non-generous, non-affectionate voices, you don't have to convince them to love you. Like just like make your way out because it's not a language like that is it's not a language that you should trust your most precious parts with. Like some people do really well with that. It's not necessary for you.
I feel like I just learned that lesson this year.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Good. Then there's nothing holding you back anymore. Now you're ready.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely be ready for a lot of new people coming into your life when I think when Jupiter goes back into Aquarius, it's gonna be opposing your ascendant again, and that's gonna probably bring in some other people in your life, especially people you can learn from. And you might be going into a phase. Do you like to teach at all? Are you into teaching at all? You have a lot of knowledge, but you don't like to put yourself out there, right? Yeah. But you have, being a Leo rising, and then you have Jupiter and Sagittarius. Um, you might be some type of teacher of some sort. You could definitely teach with this type of energy. I have in the sense that you're into. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, this looks amazing. Keep riding that wave. And thank you so much for joining. Before we let you go, do you have any questions that you want to look at? Because here's your chance. I'll answer any question you got for me.
Bree, do you have a birthday coming up?
Yeah, I do.
Yay! Happy like early birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Well, I know that my north node is at 29 degrees, critical degrees. I don't know if you guys work with degree theory or not, but it's really hard to find information about that online.
Degree theory is real. Like, let's start there. The 29th degree is a whopper. I have a moon at 28 degrees. Like, it's it's a Mars ruled moon,
Ooh.
making that even more fun. The 29th degree is what we call an anorectic degree, okay? It's a critical degree because it's the last degree of a sign before it's getting ready to move into the next sign. So at the same point, like 0 degrees, we consider to be the purest expression of any sign's energy because it doesn't have any chance to mix with anything else. So the 29th degree, like, could definitely be thought of as, again, the more pure, like, finished, final form energy of the sign that it's coming out of. It does add to the intensity of it. And it is really something that you are smart to have noticed because it's a good thing to work with, especially with something that's dealing with like your fate, you know, like what you're here for, like the North Node is known to do. That is definitely a key and a message for you.
Yeah. For you, Saturn Solstice, like you have the moon in the third house, you have the North Node in the third house. This is another indication you should be putting yourself out there. That's the house of being known. That's the house of familiarity. Okay, a lot of famous people have a lot of third house energy. Okay, third house energy is a place where you can be familiar to other people. Having the North Node in the third house, to me, is you are really here to help transform people in your vicinity, like people in your environment.
He's right, you know, especially that's why in the 9th house you're so comfortable with learning, why you can absorb so many things like in that higher learning state, and you're not as comfortable with sharing or communicating like what's actually probably some really brilliant processing going on and how you're connecting those things. But eventually, like, life is meant to lead you back into that third house of community and message and performance and all of that kind of expression.
Dang, Emily, we're just like tag teaming this so beautifully, like amazing.
We are. We're on something right now. We really caught it.
Like I'm like, damn, that was a good perspective right there, straight up. Emily, you're super legit. Like no lie, no lie. I want a reading from you. Thank you, thank you.
Real recognizes real.
Straight up, facts.
Pick up time from anyone else who might.
Yeah, we'll get the next one in there. But Saturn, I appreciate your support. I appreciate you coming in here. I hope I see you in here again. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. All right.
All right.
All right. See you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, Monty, is this our first time we're gonna have you in here? Oh snap! Oh snap! We got 14 people in here. 8 likes. 8's my favorite number, so if you guys don't like anymore, that's cool. But if we get one more like, I hit my like path number 9, so that's cool too. Okay, so Monty, I'm pulling up your chart right now. Let's see, I'm doing it on my other screen. I'm gonna get you in here right here. Monty's one of the original OGs. By the way, I want to shout out some of the Moon Lords. Leah, shout out. Mostly Mystic, shout out. Monty, of course, shout out. Jacob, that's Diamond Kojo, shout out. Saturn, shout out. Amberly, I don't know if this is my first time I'm seeing you here, but shout out to you. Purely Unbounded, you know you're my boy. And Purely Unbounded just started a Discord. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Lexi444, what's up? What's up? And Havana, yeah, what's up, homie? I can't wait to do your chart. We'll do your chart soon. I already have it in my profile. Alan, you're new. You're one of the new Moon Lords. What's up, man? How you doing? Hope we can do a reading for you too. Okay, Warbucks. Okay, yeah. Okay, so Monty, are you here? Talk to me. There he is. What's up? How you doing? Hey, how you doing? Okay, Warbucks. Okay, yeah. Mute your. Or wait. Yeah. Mute.
Me, sorry.
Okay. Monty, man. As soon as I see you, I see that Capricorn rising. Holy crap! Like wow. Before you show that Pisces side, I know people were intimidated by you. Like for real. Me, I have to remember to smile with my Pluto in the North Node, or my Pluto in the first house retrograde in Scorpio. Like if I'm not like actively smiling and being like opening my aura for people, they're just not. I just have like this like standoff vibe about me. So I always have to practice to smile and show that Libra rising. So Monty, how you doing today? How you doing on this retrograde? How you feeling?
So I've been tired and I feel pretty out of sorts, not gonna lie. I just feel like a lack of focus.
Right.
The lack of focus.
Yeah. And straight up, like Neptune will do that. Neptune is
Neptune retrograde, that definitely sounds like what you're meant to be feeling. So that's a good sign. Like you're in tune with the universal energies at the very least, even if you have to deal with like some brain fog and have a harder time getting it into action.
Yeah, and you're definitely the type of guy to like to see the structure. Um, and so during a Pisces retrograde time, this is about, those structures dissolving. Neptune represents dissolving. Pisces represents dissolving. So sometimes things have to dissolve and then be reconstructed. So that's kind of how I see that happening for you. But let me pull up your chart. What's your YouTube name again?
April 19th.
No, what's your YouTube name? I
19th.
already have you in here.
Monte Cristo.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
Monte Cristo.
Okay, gotcha.
Or my YouTube name, CMMonty92.
Okay, perfect. CM92 found you. All right, I'm put it on the screen here. Okay. Yeah, so we have April 19th, 1974, right? Perfect.
Correct.
Okay. And pull up your asteroids. Okay, so you have this Neptune retrograde happening in your second house, and you have the Jupiter retrograde happening in your second house too. Okay? And then it looks like it's right on top of your moon. Wow. Okay. That's heavy. But the Jupiter is lit for you right now. All right, so having Neptune retrograde in your second house. Second house is pretty much everything you value, anything you find valuable, all your possessions, your belongings, your family, anything you find valuable. That's the second house. A lot of time people look at your second house as their savings on a financial level. Having Neptune and Pisces here, you're really looking into the deepest parts of your soul and what your soul values at this time. So you might be doing things right now and it's like your soul is almost like, is my heart really in this right here? Because you're really, a retrograde on your moon right here in the second house, you're really connected to your values and your emotional values of things. So if things just don't feel right during this time and it's something you value, it's really going to be irritating. Would you say that's fair to say?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for you, this is a really good time where things that you're probably seeing as a fantasy, you're kind of making your own little shaping of it. It could be kind of getting dissolved, where you're kind of getting forced to see it for what it is versus how you trying to make it look beautiful type thing, because Pisces is very good at that. You know what I mean? So any of those illusions could be just kind of getting lifted, and it's going to bring emotional situations to you. But one thing we want to remember, you have a moon in Pisces. I have a moon in Pisces. Neptune is in Pisces over your moon. This is a spiritual third eye retune psychic upgrade. Okay? So you might be becoming aware of all these things because you're just becoming more aware. You're just becoming, your third eye just becoming more well tuned. What you want to focus on is not letting that discovery and you judging that discovery bring too much pain to you, because you're bringing so much judgment to it. Because that's what Capricorns do. They bring judgment, and the judgment brings the anger, the fear, the anxiety, right? And so that's where Capricorns have to watch their energies of not becoming stuck in the darkness of Saturn. Okay, Capricorn Saturn is a very dark energy when you go into the fear side of Saturn, that side of Saturn, okay? The positive side of Saturn is Saturn looks at a situation, and remember, it's the first Earth sign, so it looks at the situation and it's like, okay, I want it to look like this. How do we make it look like this? And it's a perfect time for you to go deep inside your soul, deep inside your spirituality, deep inside your creative abilities, and reconstruct your life the way the way the way it should be, based upon your new clarity, because you're getting a lot more clarity at this time. Are you resonating?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like there's a lot of mental confusion and fog. Like there's things coming on that I hadn't thought about or been thinking about before that all of a sudden are trying to intrude on my personal life and professional life that I hadn't really considered before.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, the universe is shaking things up, shaking it up. Emily, do you have anything to add on that? Because I know I went on a little rant.
A big one that I always try to throw in there when anybody has a Saturn ruled ascendant is that Saturn tries you guys really hard. It is hard to have Saturn as your chart ruler. That can come with a lot of growth that's inspired by crisis and misfortune, and you may have had a lot of experiences throughout your life that you don't actually know people that can relate to because they've been heavier and harder for you than others. But the good news is with that is like you are Saturn's child, okay? So the heaviest, meanest planet in the zodiac, even though he tests you, he protects you too. So woe betide anybody who thinks it's a good idea to mess with you, because the Lord of Karma is like really, really, really on your back. And if you are learning those lessons and following the path that like he's setting out for you, even if you don't understand, if you're living within the restrictions that he's forcing you on, whatever you take from that like situation is yours forever. It's not like somebody who's going to go on a diet and then regress, and those things are going to become foundationally part of you by the time that they're actually integrated and you've worked through it. And I think it's so important for Saturn babies to hear that, to have the reassurance that you guys have like a harder path set out for you, but it is unshakable when you actually like get to the destinations that you're going. Like nobody, no matter how strong their opinions are, can knock you off something once you've figured out what that step is and you've gotten over it.
Woo, Emily, you are woo, fire, Fuego. Jeez, I see you.
Your Pisces like inspiration is just coming through my screen right now. You got
Damn.
me all fired up.
I'm gonna have to go back and just like listen to this, just so I can just like understand how you're making these reads, because I'm liking how you're seeing these things. I'm not gonna lie, Monty, you got a lot of crazy energy going on, because look at that Pluto retrograde, look at that Saturn retrograde. It's happening right in your first house. So
you're transforming.
Yeah.
You really are. The
Yeah.
stuff that you're dealing is you're exhausted for a reason.
Yeah.
Because you are being changed like at a spiritual cellular level.
Yeah. And who you are, how you identify the world's getting changed up, and your value system's getting changed up. And it's going to be a lot of, things coming out of the darkness with the Pluto retrograde in your first house. And then with the Jupiter retrograde in your second house, that you could be dealing with secret deception a little bit, and it's getting revealed to you. So, be happy that things that was in the dark are no longer going to be in the dark, and you're going to start getting that clarity, Now, I do want to talk about what's happening with your Jupiter retrograde, because that looks very positive. And this Neptune retrograde looks positive too. It's just, Neptune is just hard to deal with. Okay? Now, you have a Jupiter trine your midheaven 0 degrees. Let's go. So you're talking about your life and what you're doing in the world. Jupiter trine your midheaven is your career sector. It is what you're doing in the world. It is your standing in the world. It's happening right here. Getting a trine from Jupiter, first of all, that's very expansive energy. But think of this as a consolidating phase. Okay? Jupiter's going back, and it's retuning a few things, and then it's going to go forward, and then it's going to hit expansion in your world. Your world will be expanded with that Jupiter retrograde trining your midheaven like that. Please believe. For you, you want to believe in. Please believe. For you want to believe in the future. That's the key. Now, you also have the Jupiter hitting your Saturn, so more Saturn energy, And that has a lot to do, since your Saturn is 0 degrees Cancer. Okay, so there's a lot of family stuff going on that you have to deal with. Saturn, Saturn's mystic means Saturn's like the strict dad. And this is kind of funny because Jupiter is like the teacher, the guru, the shepherd, okay, the teacher, and it's hitting your Saturn, which is like the father, the judger, the commander, the general, in your first house, hitting your midheaven, which is the father sector. So you're dealing with some children stuff right now, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. And you're having to be Saturnian about it, lay the law, and you got the green light to do that. Whatever.
Jupiter and Saturn making contact feels like big time like patriarch energy. Like if you're being called to like lead and like show up and all that kind of stuff, there's big consequences if you don't. But if you do kind of step into the role, like I'm not very comfortable doing that. I like to be like very mellow and not getting. But if you step into that role, there's a net underneath you. The support is there because that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Okay.
Yeah, big facts. Good. You have a really nice Jupiter transit with that. All right. So before we let you go, Monty, any questions?
Yeah, you touched upon something kind of interestingly enough. I was reached out to out of the blue for a job interview, and it basically would make me the only service engineer in the United States for this company.
Mm.
I wasn't looking for a new job, but they reached out to me, and they're looking to see how quickly I could start. They said, in a month, 2 months, and I'm like, I'm not entirely sure. I like what they've shown me so far, but I wasn't looking for a job. Is this something I should be considering?
It's funny because you can't help but to notice you have the Pluto square Uranus, 0 degrees. And Pluto is on your first house. Pluto has a lot, and it being in Capricorn has a lot to do with your status and how you're structuring your life. Getting it hit from Uranus definitely shows that there's a potential transformation happening that will come out of nowhere suddenly. Okay, doesn't necessarily show that you have to necessarily take action on it right now. But when it comes to taking action during retrograde periods, and we're talking about the outer planets, I can't put too much weight like, don't make big decisions during retrograde season, because you can't avoid it sometimes. Okay, I can say the square to Uranus like that does show a potential shakeup in your life. And since Pluto is in Capricorn, it could deal with your status.
Okay.
Jupiter trining your midheaven, I'm guessing this job would involve you traveling, moving.
Absolutely. Yes.
And so you also kind of have, good harmony for your job, because the midheaven is your career, and Jupiter is traveling, long distance traveling. It definitely can show that with this energy as well. Emily, you have anything to add to that?
Just with the timing of it and how everything's coming on, because there's so much like gated stuff that's happening, I would say to like totally consider it and moving in that direction. But I think that the advice to go very slowly, ask all your questions, like don't be afraid to drag your heels. Uranus is in Taurus, man. Get stubborn if you need to, like to make sure that your ends are eventually met, because they are asking you to be in a singular role, like where you aren't going to have that much backup too. So you should be able to have like the ability to call as many shots as you feel like you need to before you have to kind of like jump off that scene. The energy really supports, like, I don't think that you would lose an opportunity by airing any concern and like going through all that kind of stuff, because there is kind of that investigative stuff, especially with Pluto in the mix there. But initially, which is like, I would say definitely check it out, because it didn't pop up on accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
And another really, really, really interesting combination happening here is, you see Uranus is all about destroying the old, bringing in the new. Uranus is debilitated, meaning it does worse in Taurus. So everyone at this time, if they're getting kind of thrust to the future, is going to be a little scary, because Uranus belongs or wants to be in Scorpio, where it constantly destroy, transform, build something better. And Taurus is fixed Earth, so it gets stuck. It gets debilitated. It becomes less of a pioneer. than it usually is, because Uranus is a very pioneer type energy, and here it becomes that way because Taurus gets fixated on how the structure is now versus how the structure can be, because Taurus can be very stuck and fixated energy. Now you have that happening trine your ascendant, trine 0 degrees. Okay, so this is another huge green light that your life could have like an explosive like energy, and this Uranus is in retrograde. An explosive like energy where it's going to change who you are, change where you're going. And it's also sextiling your Venus, which can change your money, change your relationships, change your you know, everything happening in your world. And Venus is in your second house of your money, and your Venus is exalted. Okay, so yeah, this right here definitely is a big time green light for you, straight up. Okay, you have a lot of green lights, a lot of gifts. Remember, the trines are gifts. Okay, you have a square in your midheaven with your Venus, so things are gonna, you have to make tough decisions between certain relationships and how you're balancing relationships and your work life. Okay, it is what it is. You got a balancing that going here. But yeah, you have some serious gifts, and that's a good thing. This, what she said, just drag your feet a little bit and ask all the questions, because this is gifts. This is just things coming to you. You see what I mean?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Monty. Monty's one of the original OG moon lords out here. He's my homie. Purely Unbalanced said he wants to rub your beard. So killing the beard guy. I love the beard. I'll see you in the Discord. Thank you so much for joining. Until next time. Okay.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. 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 All right. I'm gonna leave the line open, guys, for another 10 minutes or so. So if you guys want to jump in here, this is your time. By the way, Purely Unbounded started a Discord. Check him out at Pharaoh Conversations. It's going to be popping out there. Amberly, what did you say? Let me read this. My dad he passed. All right. Amberly, do you want to call in? We'll go over your chart. Saturn Solstice says Monty looks like a teddy bear.
Oh.
So Emily, how you feeling?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I love your nails.
Can we do a few more? What's your schedule like?
We're gonna go for like another 10, 20 minutes, guys. Oh man, you guys killing me. Amberly, are you coming in? Are you coming in? Are you coming in? Yes or no? Who wants a reading? Who wants a reading? Here's your time. Here is your time. Okay, while we wait for the reading, or see who else is going to come in, let's just go look at the chart for today and see just where the stars are.
Okay.
So one thing I want to mention to everyone is right now the moon is 0 degrees Pisces with.
That's not an accident.
Yeah,
you did
yeah.
that on purpose.
Yeah, with Jupiter. Okay, so this is very, very transformative. Or I wouldn't say transformative, but this is very expansive energy, especially when it comes to
conjunct AMC's Neptune.
facts. So true. So this is a really, really good time for expansion, really good time for spiritual growth, really good time for spiritual knowledge, like what we're doing right now, and a really good time to be talking about these retrogrades.
I know, this has gone wonderful. We picked exactly the right time.
Okay, Havana, are you coming in? Are you coming in? Are you guys coming in? Are you calling in? Are you calling in? You guys are dropping dates, but you're not coming in. You're not coming in to call. But hey, I'll pull up your chart anyway because I have it in my profile, Havana. And I guess I'll talk to you through the chat. I got you. Okay, let's see. Okay, Havana, we got you here. You didn't give me a time. You didn't give me a time, so I'm just going off the planetary alignments. But if you know your time, let me know. Okay. So we got the Neptune trine your moon, first of all. Oh, I knew you were going to give me time. I knew it. I knew it. Everything just fell off my screen. Hold on. Okay, Emily, he has the retrograde going on, trine his moon. What do you think about that?
What houses? Do we have houses?
I'm about to pull it up right now.
One thing you need to know anytime something's making contact with your moon is because, and Blue can tell you all about this, the moon is so fast moving, it's indicating that changes are going to come a little bit more quickly for you. So while some people may have some like slow cooking spiritual epiphanies that are going on, you might find a lot of really changeable information coming at you fast, and you are expected to kind of like integrate it quickly to figure out what's real and what's not. And it may have to do with, that's a deep one. That's just a lot of mysticism on both sides. But you might have a hard time getting a hold of the reflection that other people are offering you. You might be getting sort of distorted visions of who they are, because the moon represents like our reflections. We're reflecting the light of the sun that's back. And they're not always exactly what we're made of, you know, where the sun is more of our character and our go forward. So when you bring Neptune and retrograde into that, you be careful with how you're interpreting the new people that you're meeting and how they're seeing you, how your reflection, if you feel like you're being misunderstood at some point, don't be afraid to make sure that you are, for better or worse, presented the way that you want to be, that you're being understood on the terms that you're putting out there, because there might be some confusion around like your own essence. As you're coming into new circles, what do you think, Jason?
No, I think that was a really, 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 really good point. You know, hitting your moon like that can definitely bring in a lot of emotional weight. So you definitely want to be careful with how your third eye is being tuned up right now. Now I'm looking at your chart, and you may not be getting the Why did I say your Neptune is trying your sun or your? It doesn't look like your moon is hitting your Neptune. So we may have been. Just verify this information is right. September 28th. Let me see where your birthday is. Where is it? September 28th, 1965.
So exciting.
Okay. So it looks like this retrograde is just dead smack in your fifth house. And it's in my fifth house too. So this is really good for anything that's like creativity wise. Your creativity is going to be on point right now. The fifth house is creativity, fifth house is children, fifth house is speculative.
Gambling,
Yeah.
spiritually guided gambling is always a good place to go.
Yeah, because since it represents the kids and has a lot to do with the father educates the kids and then it sends the kids out to the world, you know what's going to happen. So it becomes speculative, okay? And it's also, since the kids have to be taught, it's also a house of education. And since kids like to have fun and like to be entertaining, it's house of the entertainer, house of having fun. Also the house of romance, since you need romance and creativity to make children. So here with Neptune retrograde here, you're thinking about your life, what's fun, what's not fun, what you're trying to learn about, what you're trying to speculate on. You could be in a huge consolidating phase of making your dreams a reality here, where you have a lot of good ideas, and it could be very out there, but this is a great time to harness those ideas and make plans to manifest them going forward. And if you look at where it's happening right on top of your series, exactly on top of your series, which will further indicate you could be dealing with children of some sort. But this could also show that you're definitely looking to build something on a creative spectrum, because series is things we're trying to plant, things we're trying to grow, things we're trying to harvest. So this retrograde for you, this Neptune retrograde for you, is very much where your dreams can come a reality. What do you think about that, Emily?
One thing that I can't remember who said this, but I've been looking at it ever since. When you have activity in the fifth house, and especially with Neptune, which is a planet of like perception and generation, sometimes it can be involved like being able to go back to a childlike state yourself. Like if something happened in your childhood and your innocence was interrupted, or you have parts of yourself that need some reparenting because you didn't have a parent accessible to you to help you develop in the ways that you're supposed to, this is a fantastic time to revisit that. This is a really good time to like explore through play and creativity, like what makes you feel good, what makes you sound, what makes you able to go into the world and do all of that kind of stuff. So there's an opportunity in that, if any of that resonates with you.
Yeah. Wow. You have. I'm looking at your chart. Look at the first house. 1 degree Scorpio rising. Venus at its fall in Scorpio. Neptune conjunct Venus in Scorpio, and
The
it's
Venus
conjunct.
Neptune one in the first house, no less, is very intriguing.
Yeah. With the moon. So you're super psychic. And Mars in Scorpio right here, man, you're lethal too. I'm scared of you. You guys know that I say Scorpio rising is the second hardest position in astrology and the most powerful, or second most powerful. And the moon in Scorpio is the most powerful and the hardest position in astrology. And so he has double that. And Venus in Scorpio is also very intense as well. So, woo! Intensity. Now you have this trine, this Jupiter trine your ascendant. This is huge for transformation because your ascendant is in Scorpio. So you're without a doubt in a very big consolidating phase for major breakout. And with the Jupiter trine Jupiter, my gosh, as long as you believe in what you're doing, you're going to expand your life. All right, Jupiter trine Jupiter is many gifts. Many expansive gifts. Facts. What do you think about that, Emily?
I agree.
Yeah.
1,000%. I don't even know if I have anything to add because that was really well said.
Yeah. And your Jupiter is also in the 8th house of resources, and you mentioned you're investing in AMC and GameStop. Yeah, I'm in this. I'm investing in what you're investing in right now because you're.
I know that Jupiter in the 8th, like, give us your tips.
Yeah.
You are the chosen one at the moment.
Yeah, straight up. I haven't seen anything as expensive as that. So congratulations. Not to mention, your Jupiter is the same exact spot, in the same exact spot as AMC's Jupiter. Okay, and your Jupiter is exalted and it cusps the 9th house of where it belongs. So yeah, you are expanding. Enough said with that one. Enough said. So we'll leave it there. Do you have any questions? Yeah, I'm sure you know I can go a whole hour about talking about Scorpios, which you mentioned that in Discord, so let me hit you with some Scorpio talk. It's not always he says it's not always a good thing. I suffer from PSD from having premonitions of the 9/11 6 months prior. Wow. Yeah.
100%. That's also a really good. I'm happy that you found Jason's Discord because there are, like, there's so many like-minded souls and like metaphysicians that are able to talk about like how to deal with stuff like that. It's hard to have other people relate to the fact that something has traumatized you that didn't actually happen to you. Like that's a very singular experience that not a lot of people share, so they can't help guide each other through it or counsel it. But especially if you have picked up any tips on like how to process that, share them, because that is something you're probably going to be meeting more people that are also experiencing that. And if you can help lead them out of a dark place, please consider doing it because there aren't that many of you around to be able to support each other.
Yeah, well said. And you mentioned you may be dealing with your stepkid. It looks good though.
Yeah.
It looks like you guys
That sounds right.
Yeah, because since Neptune is on your series of that could indicate children because it's about growing and planting. It looks like you guys could be going through some spiritual healing. Okay, it looks like there's going to be some spiritual healing taking place between your stepkid. And I know your husband died a year ago, right? Your biggest questions revolve around navigating probate. I don't know what you mean by probate. Do you know what?
Probate, I know all about this because my mother-in-law just passed. Probate is when somebody has passed away and their estate has to be reconciled and figure out where it goes to with like the They do like estimates of everything that's in the house. They try to honor the wishes of any will that's left behind and all that kind of stuff. And it can be a really intense experience post that before you've like sometimes even had a chance to grieve and figuring out all of it. It's a lot.
What's my best approach?
It's eighth house stuff.
Mm-hmm. What's my best approach of handling their resentment for their father's death? We're a gay couple.
With Neptune, can I take this, Jason? Or
Yes,
you?
please. Mm-hmm.
Usually when Neptune's retrograde, this is like whatever's coming your doorway, handle it as honestly as you can. Whatever your truth in that subject is, don't worry about equivocating for what's going to sound best for them. You can only like fight your own corner and like your position of what's that, but do it with compassion and do it with kindness. And just keep restating like that moon Neptune thing that we were trying to tell you about. Like if you're getting misunderstood, just keep calmly restating where you're coming from. And if more information comes in and you change your mind, say that too. But whatever, like when Neptune's retrograde, like you just do not have as many powers of like charm and persuasion and certainly not deception. So it's always best to just like get yourself spiritually centered with whatever that reality is and keep delivering it, even if you have somebody who's really resisting it hard. That's all you can do. That's your only like part that you're supposed to play there.
Yeah, and let me go ahead and give you a Scorpio talk real quick because all your problems come from, no, I wouldn't say all your problems, but a lot of your problems come from your ability of handling situations that make you feel vulnerable, okay? Because I know you hate to feel vulnerable. I know you hate to show any type of vulnerability. I know you only want to show strength, okay? But that's not always the way. So, oh my gosh, you have so much Scorpio energy. Woo! Oh my gosh. All right, here we go. Okay, so Scorpio rules the 8th house. The 8th house rules the private parts. Private parts obviously have to do with sex, so 8th house deals with sex, deals with life and death. All that takes place in privacy, so it deals with privacy, darkness, the unseen, secrets. All that is like transformations too, so it deals with transformations, life, death, sudden changes. Since the 8th house is the house after the 7th house, the 7th house is the one-on-one relationships. The 8th house will be the fruits of that relationship. So, you know, the families from that relationships, the resources from that relationships. So you're always dealing with 8th house stuff with all your Scorpio energy, Scorpio rising, always have transformations, okay? Now, oh man, so the moon, first of all, is debilitated in Scorpio, okay? So what's happening here is, even though the moon is a water sign, it doesn't want to be in Scorpio because the moon gets stuck in Scorpio. The moon wants to be wishy-washy in Pisces, or just wants to rain and cry in Cancer. But a Scorpio, whatever emotion you have,
obsessive, like locked in, can't take your eyes away from the matter.
Right, and I describe it as the ice box. You take a emotional state, you turn it into ice, and you put that ice in a freezer, and you keep it there for the rest of your life. Okay, so you dealt with someone 10 years ago, and they put you in an emotional, energetic state that you didn't like. You're going to have that state, and you're going to put it in the freezer, and if you deal with them 10 years later, you're going to take that emotional state out of the freezer, put it right back on your energy. Even if you don't want to, you're still going to do it, and then you're going to interact with those people in that state, that energetic state, and manifest things you don't want to manifest. And no one's going to know or understand why you're doing what you're doing because you kept everything in the freezer. You're keeping everything in the dark. You don't want to show any vulnerability, and all you have is all that emotions that pissed you off in the first place. Okay. So that is why the moon is debilitated in Scorpio. Now, what makes it super, super strong and powerful in Scorpio is you have the ability to hold an emotional state for a lifetime. If you say you are going to fly and you really truly are committed to that, you're going to spend a lifetime trying to fly. If you say you're not going to beat me and I'm going to beat you, you're going to spend a lifetime trying to beat that person. If you are trying to teach somebody a lesson, especially a psychological lesson, transform them, you're going to spend a lifetime trying to do that. The problem with that is even though it works, even though you're successful, you wasted a ton of energy and you wasted a ton of opportunities because you're not really operating from your heart. You're operating from your Scorpio side, which has a lot to do with control and desires and not feeling vulnerable. Emily, what do you think?
I think that's exactly right.
Yeah.
I have a progressed Scorpio moon right now, and you just like basically spoke to my soul. That's like, that is what is going on right now.
Right. Now, let me tell you why Venus is at its fall here. Venus belongs to Taurus, opposite. Okay, so in when it comes to Scorpio, when a planet is at its fall, it's like going to a foreign place that you don't understand. Okay, so Venus is how we have balance with people, how we deal with relationships, how we deal with harmony, how we see love, how we want to receive love, and how we give love. Right. Um, when Venus is in Scorpio, a lot. If you're on the lower end, it's all about power. Okay, it's all about control. It's all about you know, having your desires met. And here, since Venus, this is your love planet, it's in Scorpio of secrets, you hide your love and you don't reveal your love. And it really, the saddest part about Venus and Scorpio is they have like the best love. They're full of love and they have the most love to give. These people will kill
And
for
the loyalty.
Yeah.
The loyalty is like, no matter how heavy or dark things get for you, Venus and Scorpio knows how to walk through that with you.
Yeah.
And it's really, really, really undervalued.
Yeah. And my condolences on your husband too. And you know, unfortunately, as a Scorpio, I'm sure you've seen a lot of transformations like that. And you're always dealing with it. And one of the biggest things a Scorpio can learn to do is just let go, let go, let go, let go. Scorpios can be major control freaks in every way. As soon as, especially when it comes to controlling the narrative. You see, you have Neptune in the first house. You have Venus in the first house. So Venus really cares about how you're being seen and your persona. Neptune wants to potentially put an illusion there, or potentially only show a picture that you want to see. And Scorpio rising is definitely a control freak with the narrative. Okay, so I promise you, if you stop caring about the narrative, if you stop caring about the control, if you stop caring about you know, having the power, and start showing vulnerability, start letting go, I promise you're going to activate the higher end of Scorpio. You're going to heal, and then after you heal, you're going to start running around healing everyone else. Because your lineup right here, Venus conjunct Neptune with the moon in Scorpio, is all day power to transform people in ways they didn't even know they can transform. Like, you can see people's potential that they can't see in themselves. Okay, so I challenge you to see the light and not the dark in all situations. And when a Scorpio is able to do that and is able to leave that scorpionic fear energy and go to the eagle, where you fly high above the forest and you don't come down unless you absolutely have to, and you see everything from an eagle's perspective and you're not worried about what's happening down there, that's when you're going to be powerful. And most importantly, that's when you're going to be free. I don't know what level you're on right now, but you know, all Scorpios, including myself, because I'm at Pluto in the first house, retrograde in Scorpio, should consider that. And we'll we'll leave it there. I could go on days on Scorpio, obviously. So Havana, do you have any other questions after that? And yes, everyone hold the line. Everyone give hugs to everybody. AMC's popping today. Where are we at? It was about to close. 7%. That's what's up. Okay, guys. So Emily, where can everyone find you? Where can everyone connect with you? Do you have any services?
So you can find me on Twitter, Astro for Apes, at Imogen. Just put in Astro for Apes and you'll find me like right away. I am online at lovemoneyvenus.com, but usually you'll find me on Twitter these days doing all kinds of stuff, and I am available for readings if anybody needs one. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I hope that we see you here again. It was a pleasure doing readings with you. It was absolutely amazing. In fact, like I knew it was going to go good, but goddamn, like it went amazing. I had so much fun. I cannot even believe. Have we been doing this for 2 hours? Yeah. Is that what's happened? Yeah, 2 hours. Yep. Wow. That just flew by. So shout out to all the Moon Lords. Thank you guys so much for joining. Shout out to Emily. Thank you for being my first guest on the show. I hope I have you here again. Hey, we're watching the Market Moon Lord, where we merge the matrix with the stars. I'm your host, Jason Alexander, the Blue Moon of Neptune, here to help you navigate through the illusions of life. I love each and every one of you guys. I appreciate you guys for being here. Until next time, peace.